Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is SWIZZTECH, and today we're making some fire minimal house drums inside of FL Studio. This is my first tutorial. I hope you enjoy it, and if you do, please leave a like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's go. Alright guys, so as you can see, I'm inside FL right now. First thing I'll do is set my BPM to 132. Anything in between 126 and 34 should be fine for minimal house. And then the next thing I'll do is find a very good kick drum. Sidney Charles kit by Sample Market has some quality kicks. So I found this one over here. I like the sound, it's boomy, it's not too short, not too long. Although I'm gonna shorten the sample a little bit. Something like this. I'll duplicate the sample with Ctrl B until I get a 4-bar loop here. I put that on mixer channel 1 with Ctrl L, and then I'll lower the volume of the kick until it peaks around -6 dB here on the master. And I do that is because I want to leave headroom for more elements in my track. If I leave the volume as it is, then I have more chance of going over 0, and we don't want any clipping, of course. So yeah. Next thing is very interesting. I like to look for like a perk glitch loop type of thing, or maybe some head loop that will determine the groove a lot more and give me a lot more inspiration to add more sounds. And in this kit over here, it's got a lot of break beats. Which are mainly used for hip hop, but for house also works. But I want something like fresh, something modern. So let me find a good loop here. Let me just take this one here. Boom. Cool. Let me EQ out the kick drum on this loop, because we already got a kick drum, of course. Cool. Let me put a filter freak on that to move the sound a little more, to make it more special. I like that. It's a very cool effect. So let me go find a good clap next. Let me go back to Sidney Charles' kit. Maybe if I shorten this sample a lot because the clap is way too long. Go for another one. This one's better. Let me put that on the mixer. And what I like to do in a lot of my tracks, guys, is make a reverse clap sound effect here and there. So I'll do this with, I'll duplicate the sample here, I hold shift and I drag the sample out here. I make this unique and then I reverse it like this. And then I have this sound effect. you know, and all I have to do now is place this clap right in front of the original clap. You see? Very nice effect. Very nice detail, you know. If you keep adding elements into your drums like this, it will come out really nice at the end. I like that. Let me give the clap, maybe first look for some lows here, EQ the lows out. Fine. Then some room, little reverb effect. Alright, cool. Now, the next thing I want to teach you guys, another very important thing, is use saturation on your drums. And if you don't know what saturation means, it basically is another word for distortion. Of course, I don't want the clap to distort all the way, but I just want a little bit of saturation to give more power to this sample, because it is a nice sound, but it needs more energy, you know, and you can use saturation on your kick drums, snares, claps, hi-hats even, you know, it will give your drums a lot more energy. So a good plugin for that is Decapitator. And if I crank up the drive all the way to 10, you'll hear a massive difference. You know, it sounds very distorted, but if I just lower the drive until I get the right amount of distortion, then it will come out really nice. I like that. So don't forget to lower the volume because the saturation keeps like it makes your sample louder. So balance that out with the volume fader here. All right, cool. Now, next thing would be percussion. And for percussion, I like to visualize what I already have here on the sequencer and like try and hear where I should place certain notes on the sequencer. So let me find a good percussive element here. This one. Very simple, guys, but it works. So let me pan that to the right. And then I'll look for another element that will complement this and give it some kind of call and response type of pattern. Let me try this one. And pan that one to the left, so we have a like stereo field. I like that. You see, it's very simple, guys. Don't overdo your percussion. Just try and see where the notes could work together. Let me put those two elements onto a same mixer channel and just give it some room as well. Alright, done. Now, next thing would be snare, maybe. Add a little snare pattern in there. Let me try this one. So, the reason I would like to add a snare pattern in here is because I want to fill in the spaces in between the claps, because now we have a simple 4 to the floor rhythm, but those snares in between will give a lot more groove, you know. So you see, it fills those spaces in between very nicely. Let me EQ some of the lows. Also add some saturation to this snare. Crank up the drive to 10. Cool. Now I want to make this pattern longer, and I like to, at the end of the second bar loop, I want to add more notes to have like a mini snare roll type of thing. Something like that. Let me add in some hi-hats as well. You can find a good 808 hi-hat maybe. I like those. And just draw like a 1/16 pattern. This brings me to the next important thing, guys. You see, with those hi-hats and those snares, it's all sounding too robotic. Every note is in the same volume. And like you have in a normal drum set, like in real life, every note is like a little different in volume, and that's why it feels so natural. And you want the same thing here, so you have to make velocity changes here. So if I just start over and give these notes, lower the volume of those notes here, you'll hear a massive difference. So you can already hear it's like way more natural, you know. I can do the same with the snares. Sounds quite nice. Let me shorten the hi-hat a little bit. Very cool. So this is very important, guys, for house drums. It's like play with the velocity of your notes, especially hi-hats, snares. Let me put the hi-hats on the mixer and let me add a phase mistress to that. It's a subtle, nice little effect on my hi-hats I sometimes use. I also want to give it some panning automation to go from left to right ear a little bit with Panman. Alright, cool, we're definitely getting somewhere here. Now an open hi-hat. Let me choose this one. Make a simple offbeat pattern. Now the problem with this open hi-hat over here, it's too long. And I don't just want to shorten the sample, I want to have full control over the length of these notes. So I want to go in here and lower the attack to 0, decay sustain and release as well. I don't touch the hold, I leave that. I'll get this this thing right here, and then whenever I press a key on my keyboard, it will play only as long as I hold the key on my keyboard. So it will give me full control over how long I want the note to be. And then I can create some interesting patterns with that, you know. So if I left the notes like this, it already was sounding better, but now I want to play around with the length of certain notes. So you can see, like, I put like certain short notes here and there, like with a really low velocity. You can barely hear it, but like, yeah, it's a nice little detail, you know. Like I said, small little details here and there in the end will come out really nice. And then here I like made the length of this note a lot longer than the rest. That's it. All right, cool. All right, guys, so now next thing would be adding some minimal loops. And what is a minimal loop? It's basically like a perk glitchy type of loop which adds a lot of character, especially in this genre. I found this one in the motion pack from the producer school. It sounds like this. So I just I had this whole loop and I just left this part of the loop only and I looped it like this. So it's a little ear candy, it's very pleasant to hear. So let me hear it without the minimal loop first. And now with. Like such a difference, like a small detail can have such a difference on your drums in the track overall. Now I want to give this a little bit of transient processing, and what basically means is make the loop more short and snappy. And with this plugin Flash, I lowered the sustain a little bit. Let's hear it without. If I crank up the sustain all the way, then the loop is like longer, you know, it sounds longer, but now I made it shorter and snappy because I have all these other elements and I just want the groove to keep the tightness. So EQ some lows out if there's any. Now I want to combine that with another minimal loop, and I found this one over here, same pack. Also like a very weird type of sound. And I actually only used this part of the loop. Just this one. And together with this one, it sounds really wicked. Very cool. I also gave it a little bit of transient processing, so shorten the sustain a little bit, and I'm also giving it a little bit reverb to don't cut abruptly, because I cut the loop. I don't want it to cut abruptly, to have a little after effect, you know. All right. All right, that's it for the minimal loops. Let's hear it. I really like that. I really like that. Now for more detailed stuff or more, I don't have to add a lot more to this. I just want a shaker loop sometimes throughout the track, and I found this one in the same pack as well. I just added it in there. Also, I instead of shorten this, the shakers, I put up the sustain so the shakers would go on longer with transient processing. If I, you know, the shaker sounds shorter, but now I think it was better to like make it longer. And some kickstart is a sidechaining plugin on the shaker loop. It basically means in this context that the room that the kick will have more room to play. Whenever the kick is playing, the shaker loop ducks down a bit. But that's like a topic for another video, I guess. So yeah, that's all I added here, and a crash to top it off. With some delay on it. And there you have it, guys. This is, I think this is a killer drum groove. Let me play one more time for y'all. Alright guys, so I think that's it. I think we got some killer drums in here. Now I can work on the bass line, vocals, melodies, all that. Now let me give a summary of the important things I want to mention here for your drums. Number one would be sound selection. Sound selection is the most important thing, guys, in music production. Like I think it's like 80-90% of production. Learn which sounds fit together. Only through experience you can do that. Study your favorite artists, see what kind of kick drums they use together with the clap, which hi-hat they use. And yeah, then finishing tracks will go a lot faster and easier also. Now, second thing would be use saturation on your drums. Good plugins like Decapitator. There's a free one called Saturation Knob, I believe. Give more energy, a little bit more distortion to your drums, which make it sound fatter. The samples that you download from the internet, sometimes they tend to be a little flat. They are not processed in any way, so use saturation. Third thing, very important thing, is make velocity changes to your hi-hat patterns or snare patterns to give more of a natural feel, and it will give a lot more, it will be more important for your groove. It will create more groove. Now, and fourth thing would be use loops. Use loops, especially as a beginner. And what I did here with the minimal loop is I picked out certain parts that I like from the loops and I combined it together, and voila, I have made my own version of the loop basically. So I am very original in that way. And you know, if you have any questions, just send me a message on Instagram or something. Yeah, that's it guys, I'm out for this. Peace.